Welcome, Transformer fans. My name is Composite Enerjoe, and today's review is on the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe class Jolt. And here he is in his alt mode, a blue Chevrolet Volt. And here he is, and I believe this was an electric car, and that was like the big deal about it. And fun fact, Jolt here, I believe, was a very, very late addition to the film's roster. And that explains why he's only in the film for like a couple minutes. But I felt that he left a pretty long-lasting impact because it was due to his powers and the help of Ratchet that allowed for the creation of Jet Power Optimus Prime. Because Ratchet and Jolt, using mainly Jolt's powers, his abilities using his, I believe, I call them shock anchors. I don't know what the official name is, but he used his shock anchors to transfer over the parts of Jetfire to Optimus Prime, which gave him the power boost needed to defeat, the Fallen, Megatron, so on and so forth. So, here's Jolt. Very nice little blue car. It's pretty cool. Not bad. So, on to transformations. He's actually not too bad. I was kind of pleasantly surprised by this. First, you have to... Oh, and I forgot to mention, hold on, as you saw, he does roll quite well. It rolls very nicely. So now we continue on. Pop this off. Pop this off. Open up here. Open up there. Lift this up. Fold this down. Fold, hold on, and bring this little piece here back. Fold this back. Sticking down. And then separate this, and then from this piece you rotate it out, and then you bring this entire assembly down. Essentially the back, I think the back is more or less done officially, so to speak. I think if you fold this stuff down, but I'm going to show you my version. The actual official way of working his back is to sort of leave it out like this, so these look like little cape bits. But I have an alternate way that I much prefer. So then you come down here, you separate this here, then you come down here, and then you lift this up to separate. Then you come back here, then you pull this out and down. You basically stretch out his legs, like so. And then here's a little interesting thing with this figure, and that is that in the official transformation of the feet is actually unknown. There are two versions that have been shown, and it's not quite clear which one is the supposed proper way. So the way that I have it and that I prefer is this flat foot way, which I think this is how it's supposed to be. The other way is like this, having essentially the toes up or toes down, and this is the other way. Now, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be, mainly because it'd be a very weird design because of this connector. This connector here would be pointing down. And I feel that would just do unnecessary damage to this thing and even cause it to break. So I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. I'm fairly sure that it's how it's supposed to be. And it actually makes it makes the figure a little more stable, in my opinion, having it be this way. And yeah, and it, no unnecessary stress on this little connector. So yeah. Oh, and the last steps is just fold this down, fold this up, bend the elbows, and he is essentially ready to go. But let me show you my alteration for the back. So what I do is I fold this down, connect it there. And then I rotate, not pop off. Okay, I rotate this around and then not feed it, but then have it be like this. Put it in here. And same thing here. And just finagle it a bit. Like line it up however you'd like. And then just sort of push it a little bit, and there you go. This is how I like to have his back set up. And the reason why is that not only does it look a little more condensed and streamlined, which I prefer, it actually makes his leg articulation a lot more accessible. Because when you had the little panels down, it actually prevents him from putting his leg back. So this actually frees up his movement and actually makes the waist swivel, usable. So yeah, so you can essentially do whatever you want. In the instructions, the official way is that to have these things just pointing down. I much prefer having them up like so and have this thing hold them in place. I think this looks nice. The only the technical issue I have with this figure, the main one anyway, is that this here does not connect into place. It's loose like this. Now, if you shake it, at least on my figure, if you shake it, you have to shake it really hard for it to pop off, as you saw there. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed because the figure is actually really solid, except this for some reason is just loose. Like they couldn't add a peg anywhere, and I searched, there's no peg for this thing to go. So that is a bit of a shame. Now, articulation-wise, well, first off, let's get a look at that head sculpt. And yeah, it's a very nice head sculpt. Looks pretty cool. I honestly don't remember if this is what he's supposed to look like in the movie. I haven't seen the character in a while. But I think this is more or less, this vaguely looks familiar. This looks familiar. I feel like this is what it's supposed to look like. Now, other little gripes is that he has points of articulation that are hindered by the design, which is a shame. So in this case, this little piece here prevents his ball jointed head from actually moving. So he does have a ball joint at the head, but you can't, except for having him tilt his head side to side, he can't do anything with it, which is a shame. Also, they painted over his eyes, and I hate when they do this because he actually does have light piping. But they painted over his eyes, and this piece also prevents the light piping, so it's like double pointless. It's just a shame. Like really? Well, whatever. There's also one more issue I have with the figure, but it's probably the least, like the most minor one. So what else? Okay, so articulation-wise. So we have the arms. So they have this hinge here, which is very interesting. He has essentially an up and down on the shoulder, ball joint there, swivel there, and bend at the elbow. The legs. Actually, he does have a waist, and because he's a Revenge of the Fallen figure, he does have a Mecha Life gimmick. If you stare at the chest, and I hope I can get this, yeah. And you can see when you rotate his waist, it actually moves the gears that are in his chest, which is very cool. I've always liked these little Mecha Life figures. I thought they were always really neat. So legs, they can go out that far, forward, back. It is on a ball joint. Bend at the knee, and then you have two hinges here. You have one here, what I'm assuming is the ankle. Then you have an up and down on his foot, and then you have the toe, which is on a ball joint. So yeah, he actually has quite a range of movements. He's actually very poseable, and it's very, very nice. The weird thing is that he actually does have a swivel on his knee. So you can see it. He has it, but it's so restricted by all of these extra plastic bits. It almost like it feels like it shouldn't be there. Kind of like the ball joint at the head. So that's the other one. His knees work, but it's like they're actually supposed to work better. It's just really weird. But yeah, I feel that this is a little more annoying. But yeah. So now we get onto his weapon, which are these little pieces here. They're built in. Also, his hands are molded in. Pretty cool. They have there's little claw things. So you rotate this little blue piece here to then flip out. I think these are either called, I call them shock anchors, but I think these are supposed to be electro whips. But I'd rather call them shock anchors. So here are his weapons that he flips out. And it looks really cool. I personally would have liked if they were a little longer, but hey, still really, really cool looking weapon. And yeah, that's the best thing. That's like what I can mainly say about the figure. It's a cool figure. Has good art, has pretty decent articulation. He just has some weird flaws that, weirdly enough, could have been easily avoided. That's I think the part that kind of annoys me with the figure. The flaws, like the few flaws he has, at least the ones worth mentioning, is just, yeah. He's a nice, solid little figure, and I'm a sucker for flip-out weapons like that, for built-in weapons. So yeah, Jolt here is a very, very solid figure. Especially, and I feel that they didn't need to make a figure this nice for a character that's like barely in the movie. Like literally, I think he's in the movie for like 2, maybe 3 minutes, and that's it. But apparently he was so, I guess, memorable, as weird as that sounds, that this figure ended up getting, I think, 2 repaints and even a new mold for the Dark of the Moon line. However, from my understanding, the Dark of the Moon one is a few steps lower in quality than this one. This is apparently the superior of the 2 figures. That's my understanding. And yeah, I can kind of see why. This is a very nice, solid figure. A relatively simple transformation, a pretty good vehicle mode, although it's a bit on the bland side because it's just a blue car essentially, but still it's very neat. So here we have Ratchet for size comparisons and Cliff Jumper, and he's actually quite a bit bigger than Ratchet. That's nice. He's actually slightly bigger than than what I consider a standard deluxe. So very nice. And yeah, so overall, he's just a solid figure. Some flaws here and there, but yeah, a solid, genuinely solid figure. I'm pleasantly surprised with this guy. So yeah, I do definitely recommend him. So yeah, so this has been my review of the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Class Jolt. And before signing off, here is my special person's Instagram. Please check it out. There is mine if you're curious. Here's hers, which is more important. And this is Composite Enerjoe signing off. Peace out and be safe.